The Paschal Baseball Coaches Show is brought to you by the Lone Star Podcast Network. You can find the show on Spotify, on Apple iTunes, on any place podcasts are found. But if you want to hear more high school sports-related shows, head over to LoneStarPodcast.com. And if you would love to get a show for your high school sports team, when you're on LoneStarPodcast.com, look for the link that says Coaches Show. All right, everybody, join me in welcoming Coach Clint Dunham from Paschal Baseball. Coach, how are you doing?
Coach, I'm doing great. Coach, let me start over.
Sure. Hold on, somebody's walking their dog right next to us, barking right now, so hold on.
Very good.
Okay. All right, everybody, join me in welcoming Coach Clint Dunham from Paschal Baseball to the show. Coach, how are you doing?
Chris, I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day in DFW and in Fort Worth in particular, and I'm sitting in my car, and it's 75 and sunny, and we practice in about 2 hours. So all things are good.
Awesome. Yeah, good times. I tell everybody, we get about 2 weeks of spring and 2 weeks of fall. The rest is either super hot or super cold.
Yeah, this is definitely the sweet spot, and it looks like it's going to stay this way all week for tournaments. So we should get 5 great games of baseball.
Awesome. Well, talking about great baseball, y'all did really well this past week. Let's talk through those games.
Yeah, we ended last week, and you said 3-0, and I said, man, I'd just be really happy with 2-1. And
right.
And when you look at the whole picture of it, it was a really good last 3 days of baseball for us.
Yeah.
We got a good test last night, and kind of found out where we were at and what we need to get better at. We played Aledo, who's one of the best teams in the state in 5A, and the kids competed well, and it didn't feel like we were too far off. We lost 4-0, and I thought they did a really good job competing, and we kind of could point out immediately some of the things we need to work on, some of the things that, they recognize that we got to be really good at to beat those type of teams. They're a really good baseball team, and you can't have a lot of mistakes, and you got to play almost at your ceiling against them to get those type of wins, and I think the kids kind of see where they need to be.
Yeah, and then if you look at the 2 games before then, you were 2-0 there. You outscored the combined 10-1. So really good offense, great defense too.
Yeah, and actually we combined for a no-hitter to start the season with 2 arms. So that was
sweet. That
was awesome. 3-0 win, and then a 7-1 win versus Benbrook, who's a top 10 team in the state in 4A, and both those teams beat us last year on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. So really cool to come around and beat them both and be 2-0 to start the year and get a good game in on last night, and hopefully we keep rolling into the tournament.
Well, if you could pull out some of those kids, because like you said, you had a 2-arm no-hitter, and in the Benbrook game you put up 7 runs. So there's good offense, there's good defense, there's plenty of people you can pull out.
Absolutely. So the combined no-hitter was Junior Alanese and Jackson Dyer. They were just worked really well, both all day, and the defense played good behind them as well. It was just a really solid, clean 3-0 baseball game where we won. So that was great. And then we bounced back, and we had that doubleheader with Benbrook, and being the second game of it, and beat them 7-1, all 7 runs being 2-out RBIs. And
wow.
Maybe the biggest of the game was by Trey Keith. He had a big double that kind of blew the game open a little bit and let us start going. And then we just kind of added to the lead a little more, and that was nice to see. I think we really have been trying to preach to the kids that, turn a 2-1 lead into 3-1 and 3-1 into 4-1 and just kind of extend those leads and make it hard on teams. And if you get that lead. So was really happy with that, and hopefully that continues.
Yeah, definitely. And early in the season, hopefully you're not peaking already in pitching, fielding, hitting. Where would you say you're ahead of pace right now?
Definitely pitching. We went, they allowed 1 run on Saturday, and Aledo's a really good baseball team, and we threw some guys who still hadn't thrown. So we've thrown 7 different pitchers now. Last night was only 2 earned runs, one being a solo home run. So it was they've done a really, really, really good job of competing and staying in the strike zone for the most part. And I think what we're finding early on with them is that when they are struggling, it's because those walks come around and score. So there's a lot of teaching points off it. They've done a really good job. Offensively, I thought we did a really good job the first day. Last night it's always a tough run when you play those type of teams. We faced a Division I arm and then a bunch of other good arms too. So we knew it was going to be tough, but it's one of those games you got to find a way to score a little bit and make it difficult on them.
Yeah, definitely. And coming up on your schedule, you have quite a few games, some tournament play. But first, let's talk about health. How are the kids health-wise?
We played last night's game without three outfielders that at any point could be starting outfielders for us this year. So one's been out for almost a week with strep and just all sorts of sick. Lalo Hernandez, so we'll get him back. He's back at school today, so that's good. Luke Jowers took the game off last night. He hopefully will be back at some point this weekend with an ankle, and I think we'll get Charles Witherington back soon from the hamstring. So that's what we're waiting on, but it's been really nice to get some of those other guys in and some of those guys that maybe weren't going to get as many opportunities, just keep getting them, and they're really showing what they can do and where they can help us out along the way throughout the season.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk about the season. You've got some action-packed days coming up. You've got quite a few games. Let's run through some of those.
Yeah, so we got Boswell and Eaton both on Thursday, and Boswell was 4 rounds deep last year. They're all a district opponent of ours for the last 4 years that we get to play non-district now. So it's always competitive with them. They're a very good club. Coach Stone does an awesome job. So that's a good one. And then we've seen Eaton already in a scrimmage. Now we get them in a real game. Also a very good baseball team. And don't know much about Crum. They're kind of a new one on the schedule. Chisholm Trail's been in the district before, and it's always competitive. And then we end the weekend with Argyle Liberty Christian, who has a couple Division I kids themselves, and always are a really good baseball team, and just a private school that we don't really match up with too often.
Right. Yeah, you're definitely not taking it easy when it comes to scheduling. But that's awesome because, the old saying, iron sharpens iron, right?
Absolutely. So that's what we got, a bunch of new faces, and we want them to we don't want them to ease their way into varsity baseball. We want to kind of see what it's like and speed the game up for them, and then hopefully along the way, if district play is not as difficult, it feels like it's we're ahead of pace and we know where we need to be. So I think they're getting really good work in. We're not really shying away from anybody, and we're kind of looking forward to where we're at and just kind of measuring where we're at and teaching off of every game.
Nice. And when it comes to practice, you mentioned that at the top of the show, we'll be heading to practice soon. Great weather. What's the focus this week in practice?
It's been really nice this year. We got a couple of new coaches. Coach Smith and Coach Kiger, Coach Holler and Coach Doelle are still there, but just talking to those two about what do they see, and just different eyes that haven't been around as much. And Coach Smith does a really good job with the pitchers, and we've been working on different holds and just kind of keeping runners closer and trying to stop the running game against us. And then on the base running aspect, I've worked with, Coach Kiger's coaching first base this year, and we're working on some stuff today base running wise, just leads at second, leads at first, what we're looking for when we steal, stuff like that. And then we'll do a little situational hitting game with the varsity for the last hour of practice, where we really start working on driving guys in from third, with less than 2 outs. So stuff like that we can do, and just little things we've picked up along the way, and hopefully we get it fixed.
Excellent. And I will be asking you next week to kind of pull out some names of some kids that maybe are surprising you a little bit. So I'm just going to warn you, be on the lookout
Very
for
good.
some of those younger kids.
Well, I got 5 games to watch more, and I'm excited to talk to you about who those kids are coming up.
I love it, Coach. Well, once again, congratulations on a good opening week, and hopefully the trend continues and we keep putting W's up.
Absolutely. I would love to talk to you, and we're looking for 3-2 this week, and that would be another winning weekend of baseball, and we'll go from there.
Hey, I want to thank you for listening to the Paschal Baseball Coaches Show and remind you to get out there and support your Panthers. Get to their games, let them know that you are rooting for them. Share this show and let everybody know about Paschal Panthers Baseball. Hey coaches, did you know we're now offering shows for all sports? That's right, whether it's basketball, volleyball, softball, baseball, football, soccer, you name it, we've got you covered. If you're looking for a way to showcase your program, promote your players, and highlight the amazing things happening with your team, our coaches shows are the perfect solution. Plus, our business model lets you or your booster club raise money while building excitement and support for your program. Don't miss the opportunity to take your team's story to the next level. Find out how you can get your very own coaches show. Reach out to Chris at 713-269-4620 today. That's 713-269-4620 because every team deserves the spotlight.